Away from that, all of 2015 KCPE candidates who scored 400 marks and above will join national secondary schools, regardless of whether they were in private or public primary schools. This according to Education Secretary Fred Matiang'i when he was launching the Form 1 selection exercise, which will see the highest number ever of Form 1 placement. KTN's Michelle Ngele reports those selected to join public schools will report from February 3rd.
Candidates who sat the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exam last year and who will be selected to join public secondary schools will report for learning between the 3rd and 10th of February. This according to Education Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i when he launched the Form 1 selection exercise, which will see the highest ever number of Form 1 admissions. 730,000 students are expected to join secondary schools this year compared to 696,000 last year, an increase of 34,000. This year's transition rate from primary to secondary school has surpassed that of 2014 to stand at 85%, up from 78% last year.
We have moved from 18 national schools in the year 2012 to 103 today. We have moved from 4,175 places in Form 1 in 2012 in national schools to over 23,000 places in Form 1 in national schools today.
Dr. Matiang'i also used the exercise to spell out new reform measures in the administration of schools aimed at tackling corruption in the admission process and schools management. This comes in the wake of uproar by parents who raised concern over efforts by some school heads to raise fees to meet the gazetted threshold. School heads have now been asked to create websites for their schools where all information and budgetary allocation will be availed to the public.
When we give you money, I'm going to see your budget. This is the amount of money we received from the Ministry of Education. This is what we got from CDF, and so on and so forth. Because we cannot put out 48 billion shillings every year in infrastructure and maintenance, and I cannot see it in some cases. Just tell me, why as a headmaster would you ask your students to pay 9,000 shillings examination fees? Why? Because there's a school in Trans Nzoia which has given a fee guideline that says 9,000 shillings examination fee. Now, you know, my union brothers, those are the schools I would like to go to myself, so that we understand what the problem of that guy is.
Matiang'i has called for accountability among school heads, reiterating that corruption will not be tolerated. According to the new selection guidelines launched by former Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi, the 5 top students from each sub-county will be admitted to the national school of their choice. About 7,560 candidates who scored 401 marks and above have also been assured slots in national schools. The cream of the 937,467 candidates who sat the exam in November will be eyeing the coveted 22,095 posts in the 103 national schools. Another 66,775 candidates will join the 328 extra county schools. 114,907 will be admitted to the 993 county schools, and the majority, more than 400,000, will be enrolled to the 6,982 sub-county schools, while 105,000 candidates will be admitted across the 1,200 private secondary schools. About 166,932 candidates of the 927,401 who sat for the 2015 KCPE examination will miss out on Form 1 positions in secondary school. The Education Cabinet Secretary says the ministry, in conjunction with the county governments, will develop alternative pathways, including youth polytechnics, to avail more avenues for youth to further their education. 2016 is expected to be a good year for the ministry, with a revised curriculum set to be launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta sometime in March.
And so as the country waits on that new curriculum which will offset 21st century learning skills in the country, Education Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has assured Kenyans that no candidate who scored over 400 marks will miss a slot in secondary school. Michelle Ngele, KTN News.